Hello guys, welcome back to Custom Gamer. And today in this mapping diary we're going to have a look at iterating on what you've already got in terms of your level and how to improve certain things, as I've been doing in this map. Now if you remember, it was I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, that I put out a video on this map I was making. So I'm just showing you this here for just to get you to remember what you saw in that video rather than making you go back and watch it again. So this is practically the same map that you saw in that video. There's been a couple of things added here and there, but generally it's the same kind of thing. There are a couple of changes, like you'll notice the fans are on the other side of the wall now, like I said I was going to do. And this area is kind of new, but again just kind of in the rough outline stages. There's a little bit of lighting and a couple of props here and there, but just kind of feeling out the space what I want to do with it. And then we're going to go into the latest version of the level. This is I did a live stream a day or two ago, about 4 hours of me working on this, and I've done a little bit since that as well. So let's see what's different, shall we, and what I've been working on. So this here is mainly the same, it's just a little bit more detail added. Mostly like things like the bookcase on the wall, a couple of props here and there. You'll notice I need to disable the shadows on all these ring binders because it kind of bugs out there. So what I really wanted to do here, like in a lot of the areas, I've just added a lot of clutter and a lot of things to break up large areas, and to create some interesting lighting as well. So lots of objects in front of lights to create some nice shadows, and again just lots of physics props and things that kind of break up large surfaces, add a lot of minuscule details and things like that, but again make it easy for the player to move around. So if there's a lot of detail in an area, it's always off to the side or up above, so it never actually really gets in the way of the player navigating around. I think that's really important. I play a lot of maps where it's just like there's just stuff in front of you all the time. It just gets really annoying. So here, I'll put these bars here so the player would have to explore around and find a crowbar before they can proceed. There's a few too many bits of wood there I think at the moment. It looks a bit silly, so it needs a bit of work there. So again here we've got a little bit more detail here now. Again I wanted to tell a little bit of a story with the props here, so that's like the monitoring station for all the cells that the player was in there. And yeah, so you notice here the fans are on the opposite side of the wall now, so the player sees them instantly. Although I still think that the visuals for the fan, they're really not working yet, and this is something I want to talk about iterative design. So the idea I have for the fan is that the player sees it and he understands that if he falls down that hole, then he's going to get sucked into the fan and die. Now as of this recording, I don't think the visuals, they still really don't convey that enough. There needs to be more to show that that fan will suck in anything that goes down there and kill it. So I'm thinking of maybe having a head crab jump down there as the player opens the door and see it go splat into the fan, or just have a couple of props fall down from above and get sucked in and destroyed. Something like that to just really reinforce that that fan is dangerous and it will kill you if you go down there, because right now it's just really not working. So you'll see a couple more things here. I've added a light to this side wall here so you can see into that corner. I think this area is just way too dark before. You couldn't really see much without using your torch, and I really don't like that, just having a cone of light in front of you but not being able to see anything else. It's kind of annoying. So I've added a couple of secret areas already, mostly involving vents at the moment, but I'm going to add some different ones as the level goes on. Most of these earlier ones are really easy to spot. Like, I'd be surprised if anyone missed this one as they're playing the level. Well, I don't expect they will now, then I've shown you all. So I think that's the only spoiler I give during this video. I don't show any other secrets. So again, this area, breaking up all the details on the walls. If you remember back before, this area looked really dull. It's kind of very dull texturing and the lighting wasn't very interesting. Since then I've added a lot of props and just things to break up the wall and floor and everything. Added some more detailed texturing. It's amazing just how adding some textures with some more detail just really bring life to the scene. And, yeah, I've filled out this a bit more now. I've added a lot more of those mine style, you know, kind of rusty metal supports everywhere. I really want to make that like a theme for this part of the level, like lots of kind of mine shaft supports. I think it's a really interesting look that kind of goes well with the almost clinical kind of concrete, and then you get these kind of old worn down metal pillars with like all this corrugated metal strapped to them, like it's really been jerry-rigged by someone. I think it's a really interesting look. So see, I've kind of cut this place in two using that prop, all those girder props in the middle there. It kind of separates the area into two smaller areas, which I quite like. Again, just adding more detail here. And all this area in there is new. You haven't seen any of that before, unless you watched my live stream where you saw me working on it a bit. So there's the other secret. I'm not going to show you how that works. Don't want to spoil too much. So this area, this is the newest area of the map that I've been working on, so it's not quite as polished visually as the rest of it yet. Although I have done a couple of iterations on it with things like lighting and a bit of detailing here and there, but it's not quite there yet. Car headlamps are bright apparently. So again, I wanted to continue the theme I talked about in the first video I did on this level, kind of dramatic lighting with shadows. That's why I used the car headlamp there to cast those big shadows on the wall. But I don't think the angle is quite right on it yet. I really want it to kind of go up the wall and onto the ceiling. At the moment it just kind of hits the wall a little bit, so it needs a little bit of work. And these barnacles I've got here, I was just kind of testing them out to see how they felt. I'm not quite sure if I like them though, because the player only has a crowbar at the moment, so those barnacles are essentially instant death if the player gets hit by them. Could be really, really annoying, I think, so we'll have to see how that goes. I'll leave them in for now. So here we are. A padlock that's breakable! Yes! I have done it right. So I wanted to add a ladder here so that the player doesn't have to go back and jump across all those platforms just to get back here if they fall off. It's always a really nice idea to have once the player gets to a certain point in your puzzle, have a shortcut open up so they can get back there quickly if they fall, or, you know, go back to the beginning somehow. Just to alleviate frustration. So I thought it'd be cool if I have the barnacle close to the side here so the player could hit it with their crowbar, and you'll notice it drops a battery pack. I actually had this idea during my live stream and added it right then. I thought that'd be really cool. And again, with the shortcut with the ladder there, it's not so bad that the player has to drop down and get it, because they can just use the shortcut ladder to get back to where they were rather quickly. So I really like that. But again, although it's a great idea, I'm still not quite sure about the barnacles as a whole yet, so I'll have to see how that goes. This whole area just needs a little bit more work, I think. It doesn't quite live up to the rest of the map yet. So I've been adding some particle effects and things like that. You probably noticed the steam and the water coming down, things like that. It really does liven up a level, makes it feel a little bit more alive. This whole part of the level is quite static at the moment, there's not a lot of moving parts. Particles really do help there. Again, just adding all the pipe work, and there's a lot of decals and things like that on the level as well. Just trying to break up the walls, make it look a bit more interesting. Now, I found a nice little trick when you're using all these like computer station models. There's a nice trick where you can just add like a brightness 4 or a brightness 6 light in front of the monitors, and it kind of just lights up that part of the model and a little bit of the surrounding geometry. It looks quite nice. Now, this isn't quite scripted correctly yet. It's meant to kind of spin down slowly when you hit that button and then turn off, but it's not quite working yet. I've done something horribly wrong there. It's actually meant to stop moving completely, with the gap in the bars here is meant to kind of stop at the bottom so you can jump through. This was another idea I was having, so rather than stopping the fan here and then going all the way back to the top of the level and dropping down, I thought it'd be quite nice to just hop through the gap in the fan and down into the area below there. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, again, this is the great thing about iterative, kind of iterating quickly on your designs, is that you come up with a lot of ideas, then you can kind of quickly see which ones work well and which ones don't. I mean, while turning off the fan in there is cool, I like that, I want to keep it, but I'm not quite sure if I want the player to then run back through the entire level to get back to the top to drop down into here. It feels like a a really long way to kind of circumnavigate the map just to get in here. It could be cooler to just go through the fan that you've just turned off, because that'll have the player's attention when he presses that button, because it'll slow down and turn off, and they'll see the gap in the rotors that they can fit through. So I think that just makes a lot more sense, really. So I'll probably use that. And again, with the whole fan thing, I'm just not happy with how the visuals are working up here at the moment, so I might just like put a see-through like girder at the top here so the player can't fall down at all, and just have them see the fan through it. Yes. Yeah, I just can't decide. That's my trouble. I come up with a lot of ideas for an area and I can never quite decide which ones I want to do. And again, there's other issues here, like there's holes in the sides here that the player can potentially jump into, like I've done now, and just circumnavigate this whole puzzle. So that needs some work as well. Yes, although I want to do something cool with some of these holes, like have a flap that opens up and, you know, some enemy like manhacks or something come out from inside here. So yeah, I've still got lots of ideas, just haven't really implemented any of it yet. No, that is essentially the level so far. Still working on it. I'm actually really enjoying how it's looking at the moment. Since I've added, you know, changed around some of the textures and added some details to it and things like that, I'm actually quite happy with how it's turning out. So I think we'll carry on this visual style into later sections of the map as well, but I have got some ideas to kind of vary it up as the player goes through. It's always nice to have the environment slowly evolve as the player learns more about where they are in this level, kind of what the story is, to kind of have the environment evolve around that and reveal even more kind of clues as to what's going on. I think that's kind of cool. But of course I'm not going to spoil any of that to you guys. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to just show some before and after shots quickly of areas so you can just see, so at a glance, what's changed and whatnot. So I'm going to roll that now, and please leave a comment if you thought this was interesting. If you had any ideas or kind of criticisms, please go ahead and leave a comment. If you think the whole thing looks shit, please leave a comment, explain why you think it looks shit and what you think I can do to improve and anything like that. Always after feedback. So yeah, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.